Have you ever come home from work feeling tired, telling yourself, I'll just rest for a bit, but then suddenly, it's midnight? You scroll your phone, watch random videos, or tell yourself, I'll start something tomorrow. But tomorrow becomes next week. That was me. Every single evening. I worked hard during the day, but my evenings were a complete waste. I wasn't improving, I wasn't relaxing in a healthy way, and I wasn't moving forward in life. I was just existing. Evenings can be powerful. They decide whether you only survive your life or build a new one. Most people waste their evenings without realizing they are wasting their future. So one day, I made a promise to myself. I will stop wasting my evenings. I will use them to grow, to think, and to create the life I want. And that decision changed everything. Today, I'll share 6 powerful things I did to stop wasting my evenings after work, and how they helped me become more focused, more peaceful, and more successful. If you want to take back control of your time, energy, and life, then listen till the end, because your transformation starts tonight. Thing 1. I stop running from yourself. The first thing I did to stop wasting my evenings was simple but very powerful. I stopped running from myself. For years, I lived my evenings as if they were meant to escape me. I would come home tired from work, drop my bag on the floor, and immediately switch on the TV, put on some music, or scroll endlessly on my phone. You know the feeling. You sit there, scrolling through social media or watching random videos, and suddenly, hours pass like minutes. I did this almost every evening. I told myself I was relaxing or taking a break. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. I was avoiding something much more important. Myself. Silence always scared me. Whenever there was a moment without noise, without distractions, my mind would start asking questions I didn't want to answer. Am I happy? Am I using my time well? Am I proud of how I'm living? These questions were uncomfortable, almost frightening. I didn't want to face them because I feared the answers might hurt. Maybe I wasn't doing enough. Maybe I wasn't living the way I should. So instead of meeting these thoughts head on, I created a wall of noise around me. TV, music, YouTube, social media, anything to distract me from thinking I was running from myself every evening, pretending that ignoring the problem was the solution. But one evening, something inside me shifted. I was scrolling through my phone, exhausted and empty, when I suddenly thought, why am I running from myself? What am I afraid of? That question stayed in my mind. For once, I felt a strong desire to stop escaping. I decided to turn off everything. No TV, no phone, no music. Just silence. Just me. I sat down in my living room, feeling the quiet settle around me like a heavy blanket. At first, it was uncomfortable. My body wanted to fidget, my mind wanted to scroll, and every thought seemed louder than usual. But I held still. I didn't move. I didn't reach for my phone. I just sat. Then something remarkable happened. Slowly, I began to think clearly. My thoughts, which were usually scattered and chaotic, started forming a pattern. I realized that I'd been avoiding myself, avoiding my own mind, for years. I had wasted countless evenings not because I was lazy or tired, but because I was afraid to face reality. I was afraid to look at my life honestly, to ask myself what I truly wanted, and to consider whether I was moving in the right direction. Sitting in silence that night felt like meeting an old friend, someone I had ignored for too long. I began to notice things about myself that I had been too busy to see. I remembered dreams I had given up, habits I had neglected, and goals I had postponed. It was uncomfortable, yes, but it was also liberating. I realized that avoiding these questions had not protected me. It had only delayed growth. Silence was not an enemy. Silence was a mirror. And if I wanted to stop wasting my evenings, I had to face that mirror. The next day, I took my realization further. I bought a notebook and started journaling. Every evening, I would spend 10 minutes writing down my thoughts, feelings, and goals. I asked myself questions like, what did I learn today? What am I grateful for? What could I do better tomorrow? These small exercises felt strange at first, but they slowly became a habit. Writing my thoughts down helped me organize my mind and gave me a sense of control I had never felt before. For the first time in a long time, I was speaking honestly with myself, without distraction, without fear, and without running. What I discovered was powerful. When you stop running from yourself, you stop wasting energy on escape. Most people spend their evenings avoiding their thoughts, but peace comes when you stop and start listening. I realize that facing yourself does not make life harder. It makes life clearer. It makes your priorities visible. It shows you what really matters. And once you understand that, it becomes impossible to waste your time mindlessly. The more I practiced sitting in silence and journaling, the more I noticed small changes. I slept better because my mind wasn't racing with unfinished thoughts. I felt calmer because I wasn't constantly running away from reality. I became more self-aware, noticing habits and patterns that I could improve. Even my workdays started to feel lighter because I was no longer carrying unprocessed stress into the night. I was learning to meet my own mind with kindness instead of fear. If you want to stop wasting your evenings, start with this simple step. Spend at least 15 minutes alone every evening. Turn off your phone. Turn off the TV. Turn off everything that distracts you. Sit quietly and let yourself think. At first, it may feel uncomfortable or even boring. But that is the point. Your mind is used to running, avoiding, and distracting itself. Sitting quietly forces your thoughts to surface. It forces you to confront yourself. And from that confrontation comes clarity. Clarity is the foundation of growth. It helps you see which evenings are truly wasted and which ones can be transformed into time for reflection, learning, and creativity. It helps you understand your own goals, your own desires, and the life you truly want to build. That 15 minutes of facing yourself is worth more than hours of meaningless distraction. So tonight, make the choice. Sit in silence. Face your thoughts. Ask yourself honest questions. Write down your feelings. Start small, but start today. Because when you stop running from yourself, you stop wasting your evenings. And when you stop wasting your evenings, you start building a life worth living. Remember, the first step is the hardest, but it is also the most important. Silence is not empty. Silence is full of possibilities. And when you finally meet yourself, you discover that the evenings you thought were lost can become the most powerful hours of your life. Thing 2. I create an evening ritual. The second thing I did to stop wasting my evenings was to create an evening ritual. A simple, fixed set of habits that told my brain, the day is ending, but life is not over. Before this, my evenings had no structure. I would come home from work, eat something quickly, and then slump onto the couch. I would scroll through my phone, watch random videos, or turn on the TV just to fill the empty hours. My evenings were chaotic, and I often went to bed feeling like I had accomplished nothing. There was no plan, no rhythm, and no sense of control. Without a clear structure, my brain would always choose the easiest option: comfort. Comfort meant distractions, laziness, and avoidance. I wasn't resting in a healthy way. I was wasting precious hours that could have been used for growth, reflection, or meaningful rest. Over time, I realized that structure is not just about rules. It is about creating freedom. When your mind knows what comes next, it stops overthinking. It stops looking for excuses. And it starts trusting you to take care of yourself. That is why I decided to build a simple evening routine, one that was realistic, consistent, and easy to follow. I designed my evenings to flow naturally from one activity to the next. It started at 6 p.m., the moment I walked through the door. I made it a habit to take a shower immediately after arriving home. The water washed away not only the physical tiredness of the day, but also the mental stress. It was my way of signaling to my mind and body that the workday was over, but the evening had begun. A chance to refresh, reset, and prepare for growth. After the shower, I had a light dinner at 6:30 p.m. Nothing heavy that would make me feel sluggish or sleepy. Just enough nourishment to feel energized for the rest of the evening. By 7 p.m., I dedicated 30 minutes to reading or learning English. This was a quiet, focused time. I didn't allow distractions. During these 30 minutes, I could expand my knowledge, improve my skills, and slowly work toward long-term goals. This small block of learning became one of the most valuable parts of my evening because it reminded me that my growth does not stop after work. Every evening, I invested a little in myself, and over time, these small investments began to add up. At 7:30 p.m., I spent a few minutes writing down one lesson from the day. It could be something I learned, something I achieved, or even something I could improve. This journaling practice was short but powerful. It gave me clarity and helped me reflect on the day without judgment. I stopped going to bed with unresolved thoughts or worries because I had already taken time to process my day intentionally. Reflection became a cornerstone of my evening ritual. By 8 p.m., I took a short walk or did light exercise for 20 minutes. Physical movement helped me release tension and boost my energy levels. It was a reminder that taking care of my body is just as important as taking care of my mind. This small habit created balance and made me feel alive, even after a long workday. After exercising, I allowed myself some relaxation at 8:30 p.m. Stretching, listening to calm music, or simply sitting quietly. It was not mindless distraction. It was deliberate rest that helped my body and mind recover fully. By 9:30 p.m., I prepared for the next day. I laid out my clothes, wrote a to-do list, and organized what I needed. This simple preparation reduced stress the following morning and made me feel ready to face the day with focus. Finally, by 10 p.m., I went to sleep. Going to bed early allowed me to get enough rest, wake up refreshed, and start the next day with energy and clarity. At first, following this ritual felt boring. I wanted to skip steps, procrastinate, or do something more exciting. My brain resisted. But after 2 weeks, something magical happened. I started to trust the rhythm. I no longer spent time wondering what to do, what to eat, or how to spend the evening. My mind accepted the structure, and my body followed without struggle. I didn't need motivation anymore because the ritual became automatic. Structure created freedom. Having a simple plan transformed my evenings completely. I no longer wasted time deciding or scrolling aimlessly. I just followed the routine, and the evening flowed naturally. Each small action, from learning to walking to reflection, created a sense of peace and accomplishment. I discovered that one disciplined evening is far more powerful than 1,000 wasted nights. Small, consistent actions build habits, and habits build lives. If you want to stop wasting your evenings, you don't need to create a perfect routine. Your ritual doesn't have to be complicated or rigid. It just needs to help you rest, reflect, and grow. Even a few consistent steps, a shower, a short learning session, a walk, and preparation for the next day can make a huge difference. Over time, these small habits compound into clarity, peace, and a sense of purpose that no distraction can give. Your evenings are not meant to be empty hours. They are a bridge between your work and your dreams. They are a time to invest in yourself, to recharge, and to build the life you want. When you create a simple evening ritual, your mind stops searching for excuses, your body stops seeking comfort, and your soul begins to grow. So start tonight. Build your own evening ritual. Follow it for 2 weeks and watch how your evenings transform from wasted hours into powerful, productive, and peaceful time. Your life will not change overnight, but your evenings will give you a new direction, a new mindset, and a new sense of control. Remember, structure creates freedom, and one disciplined evening is worth more than 1,000 wasted nights. Thing 3. I create an evening ritual. The third change I made to stop wasting my evenings was the hardest, and it surprised me how difficult it was. I decided to stop using my phone after 8 p.m. At first, it seemed simple. Just put it down and do something else. But in reality, my phone was my biggest thief of time. I didn't realize how much of my evening was disappearing into endless scrolling, watching random videos, or replying to messages I didn't even need to answer immediately. I would tell myself, I'll just check one message. And before I knew it, 2 hours had vanished. 2 hours that could have been spent reading, reflecting, exercising, or even just resting properly. The more I looked at it honestly, the more I understood how designed social media and apps are to keep you trapped. Every notification, every video, every tiny sound is engineered to grab your attention and hold it. They are distractions disguised as entertainment, and the worst part is, you think you are relaxing. You think you are taking a break, but in truth, your brain is working overtime, trying to process everything on the screen. Your mind becomes tired, your energy drains, and at the end of the night, you feel like you have done nothing meaningful. I knew I had to make a change. I decided that from now on, no phone after 8 p.m. It wasn't an easy decision. That first night, I struggled immensely. My hands reached for the phone automatically. My mind felt restless, wondering what I was missing or what I might forget if I didn't check messages. I felt lost without my habitual scrolling. It was a strange kind of discomfort, almost like I had lost a part of myself. But that discomfort was also a sign that I'd been too dependent on my phone, too addicted to the constant noise and distraction. Once I acknowledged this, I began replacing that habit with better ones. Instead of reaching for my phone, I started reading books for 30 minutes, writing down my thoughts in a journal, or doing light stretching exercises. Sometimes, I simply sat quietly and let my mind wander, thinking about my goals, my dreams, and the person I wanted to become. Slowly, the silence and calm began to feel natural. My evenings stopped feeling rushed, chaotic, and meaningless. My mind became calmer, more focused, and more creative. Ideas I had ignored for months began to surface in those quiet hours. Without the constant pull of notifications, I started to notice things I had been missing while being connected. I noticed the quiet sound of the wind outside my window, the comfort of my evening tea, the satisfaction of reading a full chapter without interruption. I noticed how much time I'd spent scrolling instead of living. I realized that my phone had been a tool, yes, but I had let it take over my life. In the process, I had sacrificed peace, reflection, and creativity. As days passed, putting my phone away 1 hour before bed became a ritual. That 1 hour transformed my evenings entirely. I began sleeping better because my brain was no longer overstimulated by screens. My energy returned, my focus improved, and I found myself looking forward to the quiet moments instead of dreading them. Even my interactions with family and friends improved because I was fully present, not distracted by a device in my hand. This simple rule, putting the phone away 1 hour before bed, gave me control over my evenings. I started living in the real world, with my own thoughts, goals, and presence. I realized that every scroll steals something valuable from you: time, focus, and mental clarity. But every moment of silence, every minute away from the phone, gives something back: peace, reflection, and a chance to grow. If you want to take your evenings back, I recommend this one rule. Stop using your phone at least 1 hour before bed. Use that time intentionally. You can read, write, stretch, meditate, or plan for tomorrow. You can connect with your family or simply sit quietly and breathe. That small change will give you more energy, more focus, and more creativity than you ever imagined. Breaking the habit is not easy. The first few nights will feel strange, uncomfortable, and even boring. Your brain is used to being constantly entertained, but that discomfort is temporary. Once you push through it, you will discover a calmness and clarity that you didn't know existed. You will start to enjoy your evenings in a completely different way. Not as wasted hours, but as a chance to reset, recharge, and reflect. Putting the phone down does not mean isolating yourself from the world. It means reconnecting with the most important person, yourself. It means reclaiming the quiet time that belongs to your mind and soul. And in that quiet, new ideas will emerge, solutions will appear, and your energy will return. Remember, social media and your phone are tools, not masters. When you control them, they can support your growth. When they control you, they steal your time and your peace. Take back your evenings by putting your phone away. Experience the calm. Embrace the silence. Build habits that matter. Because every hour you spend awake and focused after work can become the foundation for the life you want to create. Thing 4. I learn something small. Every night. One of the most powerful changes I made to stop wasting my evenings was turning them into learning time. I realized that my evenings were full of potential, but I'd been letting them slip away, filled with meaningless scrolling, random videos, and distractions that gave no real benefit. I thought, if I can learn just one small thing every evening, I will become a different person in 1 year. It sounded almost too simple to be true, but I decided to try. I knew that small, consistent actions over time create results far bigger than any short burst of effort. I began by choosing learning activities that were easy, short, and interesting. I studied English, read short articles, or listened to motivational stories in English. Some days, I watched TED Talks with subtitles to improve both my comprehension and my thinking. Other days, I wrote down 5 new English words in a notebook, making sure to use them in sentences. These actions took no more than 30 minutes each evening, but even in this small time, I could see their power growing. The key was consistency. Committing to a small, achievable goal every single evening, rather than waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect day to start. These small steps began to change my life slowly but surely. Every evening I spent learning added to my confidence. I noticed that my English vocabulary was improving, and I was able to understand more when reading or listening. My thinking started to feel sharper, and my communication became clearer. These were small gains at first, almost imperceptible. But over weeks, they compounded into something tangible. I felt proud of myself because finally, my evenings were not just empty hours. They were moments of growth, improvement, and self-investment. Learning became more than a task. It became a source of enjoyment and relaxation. I realized that watching random videos or scrolling through social media had only made me feel tired and unfulfilled. But spending 30 minutes learning something new left me feeling energized, inspired, and proud. I started looking forward to this time every evening. It became a reward, not a chore. My evenings had transformed from passive consumption into active growth. Each day, I felt I was doing something meaningful for myself, and that feeling was deeply satisfying. One important lesson I learned is that learning does not have to be long or intense to be effective. Many people think they need hours of study to make a difference, but small, consistent learning sessions work even better. 30 minutes each evening may seem insignificant, but over time, it becomes extraordinary. Think about it. 30 minutes a day is 210 minutes in a week, 900 minutes in a month, and more than 10,000 minutes in a year. That small daily habit, if maintained consistently, will make you a completely different person. In 1 year, I also discovered the psychological power of progress. Every time I learned a new word, understood a new idea, or completed a short lesson, I felt a sense of achievement. That sense of achievement motivated me to continue. It created a positive feedback loop. Learning became enjoyable, and enjoyment made me consistent. Slowly, my mindset shifted. I no longer saw learning as a requirement or an obligation. I saw it as a gift I was giving myself every evening. If you are someone trying to learn English or any new skill, I want you to understand this. Your evenings are one of the most important parts of your day. You don't need long hours or complicated plans. You just need consistency. Even a few minutes each evening dedicated to learning can make a tremendous difference in your confidence, skills, and mindset. The secret is not in the intensity of learning, but in the commitment to do it every day without fail. Remember this: your evenings decide your direction. If you spend them watching meaningless content or wasting time, you will drift without control. But if you dedicate your evenings to learning, even in small ways, you are investing in your future self. You are building skills, confidence, and knowledge that will serve you for the rest of your life. Every evening becomes an opportunity to rise above distraction and create your own path. So tonight, take one small action. Learn one new word in English, discover one new idea, or practice one new skill. Make it a habit and do it consistently. In 6 months, your evenings will not be a time of waste or regret. They will be the reason your skills have improved, your confidence has grown, and your mind has become sharper. They will be the quiet hours that helped you rise above average and move closer to your goals. The truth is, real growth does not happen in sudden bursts. It happens in the small daily steps that accumulate over time. Your evenings are the perfect place to take those steps. They are your time. After work, when the world is quiet and when distractions can be controlled. Use them wisely. Learn something, practice something, reflect on something. Every evening spent learning is a victory, a step forward, and a foundation for your future success. Your evenings have the power to change your life. You just have to decide to use them. Begin tonight, start small, and be consistent. And in 6 months, when you look back, you will be amazed at the difference these small moments of learning have made. Thing 5. I make evenings about reflection, not escape. Before I made this change, my evenings were almost entirely about escaping. Escaping stress, escaping thoughts, escaping responsibility. I came home from work exhausted, both physically and mentally, and I wanted nothing more than to switch off, shut down, and distract myself from reality. I would scroll through my phone, watch TV, or play video games just to forget the day. It felt like a relief at the moment, but when the night ended, I realized I had wasted hours that could have been far more valuable. The stress didn't go away, the thoughts didn't disappear, and the responsibilities still waited for me the next day. I was running in circles, escaping without solving anything. One day I asked myself a simple question. Does escaping actually help me? The answer was obvious. Escape is temporary. Escape does not heal you, it does not improve you, and it does not help you grow. If anything, it leaves you feeling empty, restless, and sometimes even guilty for wasting the hours you could have used wisely. That's when I realized that my evenings needed a new purpose. They needed reflection, not escape. Reflection is the antidote to wasted time. It helps you understand your day, see your progress, and plan for tomorrow. Reflection gives meaning to every action and thought you have experienced. I decided to create a simple habit that would make reflection a daily practice. Every night, before sleeping, I asked myself 3 questions. What did I do well today? What could I improve tomorrow? What am I grateful for right now? These questions were simple, but their impact was profound. They took less than 5 minutes, yet they completely changed how I saw my life and my evenings. They shifted my focus from what went wrong to what went right, from complaints to gratitude, from regret to learning. The first question, what did I do well today? Helped me notice progress. For so long, I had focused only on mistakes or missed opportunities, which made me feel inadequate or frustrated. But by asking what I did well, I learned to acknowledge even the smallest victories. Completing a task at work, speaking up in a meeting, or even just showing patience in a difficult situation. These small recognitions built my confidence. I realized that progress doesn't always come from big leaps. It comes from tiny steps that accumulate over time. Reflection helped me celebrate those steps instead of ignoring them. The second question, what could I improve tomorrow, made me proactive instead of reactive. Instead of dwelling on mistakes, I began to see them as opportunities for growth. I could plan how to approach challenges differently, solve problems more effectively, and prepare myself for a better day ahead. Reflection made me take responsibility for my actions, but it did so without judgment or negativity. It became a gentle, constructive process, helping me improve steadily rather than punishing myself for the past. The third question, what am I grateful for right now? Changed the way I felt in the evening. Gratitude became the final touch in my reflection routine. Even on stressful or tiring days, I found at least one thing to appreciate. A supportive colleague, a moment of laughter, a meal I enjoyed, or simply the fact that I'd survived the day and had another chance tomorrow. Focusing on gratitude replaced the habit of dwelling on problems or stress. It reminded me that my life was full of small blessings, even when the big picture felt overwhelming. By practicing reflection consistently, my evenings transformed completely. I no longer needed to escape from the day. I no longer went to bed with worry or stress. Instead, I went to bed with peace. I could see the value in each day, and I could sleep knowing I had learned something, done something, and taken steps forward. Reflection made my mind calm and focused, ready to rest, and ready to face a new day. Reflection does not take hours. It does not require complicated tools or techniques. Just a few minutes, a notebook, or even thinking quietly can be enough. The key is consistency. Making reflection. A habit rewires your mind. You start noticing progress you had overlooked. You start appreciating what you have instead of obsessing over what you don't. You start controlling your thoughts instead of letting them control you. Reflection gives meaning to your day and creates a foundation for a better tomorrow. If you want to stop wasting your evenings, stop escaping. Take time to reflect. Ask yourself these 3 questions or similar ones that resonate with you. Write your answers in a journal. Speak them aloud, or think about them quietly. Allow yourself to see the day honestly, to recognize your progress, and to embrace gratitude. Over time, you will notice your mindset changing. You will feel more peaceful, more confident, and more focused. Your evenings will become your secret weapon for growth, not a time to lose yourself in distraction. Remember, every evening is a chance to understand yourself better. Every evening is a chance to learn from the day, to appreciate what you have, and to plan for tomorrow. Reflection turns wasted hours into meaningful time. It turns stress into clarity and worry into peace. So tonight, instead of escaping, take a few minutes to reflect. Because when you understand your day, you gain control over your tomorrow, and that is how you truly stop wasting your evenings. Thing 6. I start building a second life after work. The 6th and most powerful change I made to stop wasting my evenings was the realization that I needed a second life after work. This was not about quitting my job or abandoning responsibilities. It was about creating a version of myself that existed beyond my work hours. For years, I had poured all my energy into my job, thinking that it defined my life. I worked hard during the day, then came home and spent the evening distracted, tired, or scrolling through my phone. I believed that work was everything, but one day, I asked myself a question that changed everything. If my job disappeared tomorrow, what would I have left? That question hit me like a shockwave. I realized that the answer was nothing. I had no skills outside of work, no personal projects, no hobbies, no self-improvement, and no meaningful growth. My identity had become too tied to my routine job, and I was living in autopilot. I was functioning, yes, but I was not thriving. I was surviving, but I was not creating. And that realization was uncomfortable, almost painful. But it was also the spark I needed to change. I decided to build a second life after work. A life that was mine. A life that would exist even if my job ended. This second life was not about instant success or fame. It was about small, consistent actions that would create a stronger, more capable, and more fulfilled version of myself over time. I began by asking myself, what can I do tonight to move closer to my dream self? That question became the foundation of my evenings. I started creating. I wrote content, recorded videos, and taught English to others. I learned new online skills, from writing to digital tools that could expand my opportunities. My evenings became a laboratory where I experimented, learned, and built. I stopped waiting for motivation or inspiration. I stopped saying, I'm too tired. Instead, I began saying, I'll give my dream just 1 hour tonight. And that 1 hour, repeated consistently, became the foundation of everything I have now. The idea of a second life is simple but powerful. You don't need to quit your job or create something massive overnight. You just need to use your evenings intentionally. You can spend an hour learning a new skill, creating content, planning a project, or improving yourself in a small but meaningful way. Over time, those small actions compound into progress. Every evening becomes a brick in the foundation of your future. I discovered that building a second life also changed my relationship with my day job. I stopped seeing my job as the only source of purpose or identity. I started seeing it as one part of my life, and my evenings became the part of life that belonged to me, my growth, and my dreams. Instead of feeling drained or frustrated, I felt empowered. I could finish work knowing that my evenings were not wasted, but dedicated to building a life I truly wanted. Creating a second life is also about mindset. It is about seeing yourself as more than your current role, more than your current routine. It is about believing that you can grow, create, and achieve even while fulfilling daily responsibilities. That mindset makes the evenings exciting instead of dull. Every night becomes an opportunity to meet the future version of yourself, the person you want to become, and invest in them. I also noticed a remarkable psychological shift. When I began using my evenings intentionally, I stopped feeling like life was passing me by. Instead of waiting for the weekend, for vacation, or for some distant moment to feel alive, I started living in the moment. I started building, creating, and moving forward consistently. My evenings were no longer empty hours to endure. They were powerful, productive, and fulfilling. Every small step I took after work became proof that I was not helpless in shaping my life. I was in control, even in tiny ways, and that control gave me energy and confidence. If you want to start building your second life, start small. Decide on one meaningful activity you can do each evening. It could be learning a new skill, writing, creating videos, teaching, or planning your goals. It doesn't have to be perfect or long. It just has to be consistent. 1 hour every evening dedicated to building yourself will transform your life over weeks and months. You will see progress. You will notice skills improving, ideas multiplying, and your confidence rising. The truth is simple. Your evenings belong to your dream self. Your mornings and work hours are often consumed by others, by responsibilities, by routines. But your evenings are yours to design. If you use them intentionally, you are meeting the person you aspire to become. You are building your skills, your knowledge, and your confidence. You are creating a life that is independent of circumstances, a life that belongs to you. So tonight, take one small step. Build something, learn something, or create something. Even if it is just for an hour, you are meeting your future self. You are turning your evenings from wasted hours into building blocks of growth and opportunity. And slowly, consistently, your second life will become real, powerful, and rewarding. The person you want to be is waiting for you in those quiet evening hours. Final message. The night belongs to you. Most people waste their evenings because they believe their day ends after work. They think the workday defines their life, and everything that comes after is just for rest or distraction. But the truth is, your real life begins after work. Evenings are not just for collapsing on the couch or mindlessly scrolling on your phone. They are your secret hours, a time to reset, rebuild, and rise. These hours hold the power to shape your future, to strengthen your mind, and to give you control over your life in ways that the daytime often cannot. If you use your evenings with purpose, you can completely change your life. Without quitting your job, without waiting for the perfect time, and without needing anyone's permission. Your evenings are yours, and the way you spend them defines the person you are becoming. On my YouTube channel, English Achieve, I have shared how small, intentional actions each evening can turn wasted hours into life-changing time. It's about creating habits that build you, not just your work. It's about using this quiet, uninterrupted space to grow in ways the day rarely allows. Remember these 6 powerful habits. Stop running from yourself. Face your thoughts honestly and without fear. Create a simple evening ritual. Structure gives freedom and peace. Put your phone away early. Protect your time and your mind from distraction. Learn something small every night. Even 30 minutes compounds into massive growth. Reflect instead of escaping. Gratitude and reflection turn stress into clarity. Build your second life after work. Invest in the version of yourself you want to become. These 6 things, done consistently, will transform not only your evenings, but your entire mindset. When you begin to practice these steps, you will notice a change. You will stop feeling lost, restless, or powerless. Your evenings will no longer be hours to kill. They will be hours to grow. Success is not built only in the morning. It is built in the quiet hours of the evening, when the world is resting and you are becoming. So tonight, don't waste your time. Don't scroll, don't complain, and don't say, "I'll do it tomorrow." Take one small action. Read, learn, reflect, or create. Every evening is a second chance to shape the life you want. And if you start today, your future self will look back and say, "I'm proud of the person I became after work."